Could we start with the enlargement policy, as there are several anti-government manifestations in Serbia, Montenegro, Albania, and that many called like Balkan Spring, and they can really turn in a serious crisis for the European Union. May I start? Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
A question to Maya, yeah. First, with Albania. Following massive student protests denouncing the unfair and problematic education reform, the opposition organized 2 anti-government rallies which ended up with the decision of renouncing their parliamentary mandate. So we have a position with the parliament with no opposition now. So this decision, according to the opposition, is an extraordinary response to an extraordinary situation where the rule of law and fundamental rights are violated by the current government. We have now the investigation done by Voice of America in Bern, which show the links between organized crime and the power, because it's related to vote buying in the general elections of 2017 in 4 districts in Albania, or big cities as you like. We have a situation when big corruption cases involving high officials, former ministers have been put on hold for months, and we have no constitutional court, no appeal court for about 2 years, and on top of that, growing poverty, pushing Albanians now about 500,000 in 6 years, asking for asylum in member states of the European Union and abroad. The European Parliament answered to that situation and decided to send a mission on Wednesday with MEPs from different political groups. The question today is, what's the response of the European Commission? Is Commissioner Hahn going to mediate the political crisis as he did for Macedonia, now North Macedonia? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elisa, for this very long question. What I can do is very clearly underline what High Representative Vice President Mogherini and Commissioner Johannes Hahn said already last week when it comes to the protests, that they have reaffirmed the right of the citizens to engage in peaceful demonstrations, because this for us is an essential feature and a core value of democracy. But at the same time, they have very strongly denounced any rhetoric by the political leaders with calls to violence, which we have heard. When it comes to the relinquishing of the mandates, the decision by the opposition, in our view, seriously hinders the functioning of democracy in Albania, because the parliament is actually the place where relevant developments, where reforms need to be discussed and need to be taken forward, and not boycotted. These decisions are therefore viewed as counterproductive and go against the democratic choice that Albanian citizens have made, and undermine the progress that the country has made on the European Union's path. And we expect all members of the Albanian parliament to defend the ideals and principles of democracy, to continue serving in the parliament, and to take any necessary measures to avoid violent acts and incendiary statements. And in this statement, in my view, still stands. But you would also remember that we express clear expectation that the government and the opposition will engage in constructive discussions with a view to overcome the current political situation to the benefit of Albania and its citizens. This is a very clear statement which remains valid.
Thank you. Maya, follow up?
And let me turn back to the, one of the main reforms, which is judicial reform. The European Union is really interested in having finalized this reform. Commissioner Hahn has underlined often that the quality of this reform is more important than the speed of it. Nevertheless, we have seen some judges and prosecutors having passed the first phase of selection in the vetting process and being very contested because they have been unable to investigate very sensitive corruption cases, and they have not justified their wealth and their properties. So is the ONM, where the Commission has a very important role to play, is sacrificing the quality of this reform for the speed just to have it finalized as soon as possible?
So first of all, I think it's important to underline that there are observers that are deployed in the framework of the international monitoring operations that are monitoring this vetting process very closely, and they are actually embedded in every layer of the vetting institutional framework, specifically to guarantee the quality of the process. In our view, there is no indication that the quality of the vetting would be sacrificed to speed up the process. A wide agreement actually exists as to importance of the outcome and the unique opportunity to restore public trust in the judiciary by actually conducting a very thorough process. Since the process started, the vetting has produced very concrete results based on detailed investigations and a system of checks and balances. And we will have a very detailed and close look at all this when the Commission publishes the usual enlargement package, which will happen in the spring. And we maintain the process is thorough and is contributing to the fight of corruption within the judiciary very specifically.
Okay, one last more because we have...
As I said, Mina, at the beginning, with different manifestations in Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia, and Albania, all of these manifestations are anti-government, and all those manifestations are denouncing the violation of rule of laws and fundamental rights. And international media and European media, like, for example, Radio Free International, said that Commission is still praising those governments, even though they are violating fundamental rights and rule of law. Do you consider this time now to change your approach? I mean, the Commission approach to that. Thank you.
Elisa, if you read our reports carefully, you know that they are quite balanced, and they praise when praise is needed and deserved. And if this is not the case, and there are very often chapters where this is not the case, we are also extremely critical, and in this sense also give very concrete and precise recommendations. I think that in this sense, the reports are quite clear. Unlike you, I wouldn't really compare the situations. I think that the process is in each partner in the Western Balkans has its own characteristics. There is obviously a clear framework, but I wouldn't compare the situations in exactly the same way you do. There are common elements which I think are very clear and commitments that are very clear. This is the one where not only our reports, but also a Western Balkan strategy that was published a year ago is very clear. Rule of law is absolutely of utmost importance. This is highlighted in, I think, almost every single page of the Western Balkan strategy. It's a message that we continue to pass on to all our partners. And as you know, we don't only speak to the governments, we speak also to various other interlocutors to get a full picture of the situation. So I wouldn't really make exactly the same conclusions as you have done.
Thank you. let's give other colleagues also the opportunity to ask. We had the gentleman here.